where do you think this anxiety stems from? With the embarrassment, the self-consciousness, like, do you think it comes from school experiences? Because you went to the Philippines, like,
Wait,
because
what do you mean
talking about
specifically?
like when you're saying how you think that you're awkward in person and you're self-conscious about your personality
Oh,
and
right.
looks and like where do you think? Because I feel like there is something unnatural about it. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
everyone has that,
right.
but it's a different degree.
Hmm.
Like where do you think that stems from?
It's really hard to say. I mean, I've always had self-esteem issues, which again are very
Yeah,
common.
but that's
I'm not
yeah.
special. Like everybody has that to some extent.
Mhm. Well, but
But in terms of questioning like my how likable, I think that's what it comes down to. Am I
like
likable? And that's what I've
yeah,
struggled with the most.
the need to be liked. I've heard of that a
Yes,
lot.
yes. And if I know if anybody doesn't like me or I get the impression they don't like me, that I carry that really heavily. That
Hmm.
really hurts me. And yeah. And I think it's because tensions that I had with my dad growing up.
Hmm.
We were very similar in personality.
Not expecting that.
We butted heads a lot. We were so much alike. And I feel like because I've gone over this so much with like therapists and stuff, but I feel like the takeaway was always I know I had never had a doubt in my mind that my dad loved me. Never
Yeah,
a question. But I always questioned if he liked me.
that is
And I think it's
wow.
because we butted heads so much, and
Yeah.
so we tended to
So
cross the boundaries of like parent child dynamic. You know how you see it all the time, parents and children acting like siblings.
yes, but
And
because
it
I feel like someone would say that we would do that, but it's so mature that it's not a problem how we would do that.
right.
But because when you say oh yeah that their parents act like their sibling like that's a very immature
Right.
style.
And my
You know
father was not immature by
that's
any
why I'm
stretch.
confused. Is like
But I think there was just something about our dynamic, specifically his and mine, that
so was it because was it the same type of thing that me and you and me and dad have where like we can talk like friends but there's still the maturity there of like you know you're my parent like
yeah,
because I can't imagine him being I mean I never met him but I can't imagine him being like that immature dad who's like hey let's just hang out and like whatever.
no, he was like I don't know how to describe because he I don't want anyone to have the impression that he was immature because he wasn't.
Yeah.
But I think he had a lot. He suffered abuse in his childhood
I
from
didn't know that.
yes, from
Wow.
mostly verbal, but there was a little bit of physical.
That's
His
I did not know
dad
that.
got aggressive from time to time with him,
Mm.
at least by my standards.
Yeah.
The way he dealt with him
Yeah.
was a little harsh sometimes and got
Yeah,
a little bit
not any,
physical.
so like not anything that you would call CPS for, but
Right,
still like just like
like
let's not do that.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's not okay.
yeah.
And so I know my dad had very severe self-esteem issues. And so I
Mm.
think when he and I would we would feed off each other and we would bicker and fight and he it would kind of cause him to regress to that to it, more of a childlike reaction.
Right.
That's just my
Because not the
guess.
exact same thing, but I see that a lot in us with where we butt heads sometimes because we're so similar.
Yes.
But what's different about us versus you and him that made it better, made our situation better?
I think maybe just going through that as the child of my dad and learning maybe what to
Yeah,
try
yeah,
to
but like what
avoid
actually did you avoid? What actually did you change?
with you.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to get a sense of like what this relationship was like with you and him because I can compare it to ours and then I want to know what's different about it. Because we already established he's not immature. It's
Right.
not the dad who
No, not at all.
doesn't really do anything and just wants to hang
Oh
out.
gosh, no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how to answer that because I
You think there's a lack of like of talking about it with him? Because like with me and you like we definitely express that we do like each other. You know,
Oh yeah.
like was there not him saying like, yeah, but even though we fight, I do like, I like you as a person. Like,
Yeah.
was there not enough of that?
Maybe like, and my memory's not good, my long-term memory. I do recall my dad would always talk because we definitely talked about the relationship dynamic and the issues that we had. We did talk about it. It's not like we didn't
Yeah, yeah.
bring it to the surface.
That's really good.
And he would talk about how when I was little, he noticed a definite shift in me when I was very small. Because when I was very little, I
Mm.
was very happy all the time. I was a very, very happy kid. And
Mm-hmm.
then he noticed a shift, an abrupt shift where I just started to be grumpy all the time.
What age?
Pretty young, like like
Oh wow.
maybe preschool,
Because the thing is,
young.
that's not usually normal. Because if it was
Right.
like when you were 13, it's like, okay, well, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
13. But preschool, that's
Yeah.
like strange. Yeah.
And so there was something that happened early in life, I think, that shifted in our relationship. And
Mm.
because he always blamed himself for that, which is not fair, but I think there was a shift in our dynamic when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and he recognized that.
What do you think that was?
I really don't know. I don't know if it was maybe just change going on in my life at the time, in our lives. I know he carried a lot of stress around his job, his career, what he was trying to do with his life.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know. It's
Stress causing. Because I would you say that he was like, I'm never, I'm not all implying he was an absent father, but like
no.
absent. If someone says absent, does that mean like not there at all, or does that mean just kind of like not there?
It can mean both.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. But like, did the career thing kind of like pull him out emotionally?
I think so.
Yeah.
But and yet our interactions tended to be very emotional. So where he would say that he failed was allowing his emotions to get
Yeah.
involved every time. And I feel like I've always struggled with that with you and
Hmm.
Micah. I've always had a hard time keeping my emotions and not letting them affect my interaction with you
Right.
both.
Right.
So I feel like I have done exactly what he did with me. I've done that with you guys. And I feel like I
I don't
often
know,
think about
but
that.
it's so much better because even though like I recognize the flaws you're talking about, and
Mm-hmm.
like, but the fact that you every time you feel like you're out of line, you apologize and like, because I feel like it's good to have even though people are flawed, like everyone's flawed, even the
Mm-hmm.
best role
Mm-hmm.
model is flawed.
Right.
So to like see that and see them recognizing that and see how you can do it yourself, because I'm like that myself,
Yeah.
that I think that's important in itself,
Yeah.
is like
Oh yeah.
seeing where they mess up and then seeing them own it and
Yes,
like
yes,
get
absolutely.
past it. So like
And he did
it,
apologize to me different times.
yeah, I'm not saying you didn't.
But I think, yeah, I'm not quite sure what else to say about that. But I will say, just to his credit, I wanted to say, because when I said I always questioned whether or not he liked me, later in life, like as an adult, our relationship definitely got
Hmm.
healthier. And before he died, one thing that he said to me has always stuck with me, and it's always been a comfort to me because one time on the phone, we were talking about some issues I was having with people or whatever, and he
Yeah.
just said, "You're such a good person," he said to me. And that meant so much to me.
Hmm.
And yeah, always, I can just picture where I was sitting, you
Yeah.
know, and when we had that conversation. And he was a wonderful, wonderful father. So
Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
and that's, that happens in families because everybody is their own unique person. And sometimes different members of the family will have a smoother dynamic than other members of the family. It's just the way
And
families
yeah,
work.
because it's good to learn how to deal with a different dynamic. You
Oh,
know what I mean?
yeah.
It's not always a bad thing to have that
Right.
rocky dynamic sometimes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I wish you could have known him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
I ain't been this high on Perkins in a long time. I ain't been this high on Perkins in a long time. I took 2 30s and a half of a third one. I feel like I can see everything with my third eye. Feel like I'm floating, see the world from a bird's eye view. These drugs remind me of a girl I knew. A little sweet, a little sour, and it vibes with the mood. Ain't no competition, baby, but I'm higher than you.